Matt, it was a mixed post-budget news poll with Labor gaining ground slightly, but the reaction has been, whilst been no worse than the reaction from the previous budget, it didn't fare too well with voters. Are you concerned about how the budget is being received?
I did some door knocking on the weekend, Kenny, in my electorate around the budget, and I've got to tell you that the feedback that I got was pretty positive. Everyone had heard about the tax cuts and were looking forward to that relief on the 1st of July. They'd heard about the energy rebate. If you're a student, you're over the moon with the fact that the government was writing off the increase in HEX indexation, and the prac placements went down well as well. So I've got to say, I think that the feedback I got in my community was positive, but we do know that there's more work to do. We're not out of the woods yet, and we have to tame inflation, and that's what the budget's all about. The fact that we're running a budget surplus means that we're saving more than we're spending, like many Australian households at the moment, and hopefully we can get inflation back to that target range, but assist Australians to get through this difficult period at the same time.
Well, not many people think that you can do it, though. Wholly less than a third of people surveyed believes they will be better off financially from the budget, despite the tax cut, rental assistance, the $300 energy rebate. And they also mostly believe that this budget is not good for inflation. What's your take?
Well, I mean, almost credit to the Treasurer and the Finance Minister. You know, this saying around economists that if you put 10 economists in a room, you get 10 different opinions, or possibly 12 different opinions. But, you know, they seem to have united every economist from every sort of side of the political persuasion that this budget is a dud. It's high spending. Matt talks about a surplus this year, which is off the back of high resource prices, but looking into the future, it's nothing but a sea of red and deficit and deficit and deficit. And that's because this government has injected a new $315 billion worth of spending. Australians already are having to find an extra $35,000 a year, the average family with a mortgage. We're not talking about change you find down the back of the couch. This is a substantial hit to their quality of life, that they're, we know that the quality of living they're experiencing has dropped by over 7.5% since this government came to power. This is feeding into the confidence. I don't think anyone believes this is anything but an early election budget. It's got nothing to do with taming inflation.
Just quickly, Matt, on immigration, we seem that Australians are generally in support of a stronger cutting or more cutting of immigration. Australians have backed the case for lower migration after a bruising political fight over housing and congestion. 66% of voters saying last year's intake was too high. Does the government need to do more to cut even more numbers?
We've heard the concerns of the community about migration, and we're acting. We're cutting the migration intake. The net migration intake will be cut in half over the course of the next couple of years. But it is a balancing act. Migration recovered in the wake of COVID, where we didn't have any migrants coming to Australia. So the numbers did increase, but we're cutting back now. But we've got to make sure that we balance the needs of the economy as well, with employers who need people and skilled labour to fulfil the demand that there is in the economy, particularly in the construction industry. We know we need to build more homes for Australians. To do that, we need the requisite skills and the requisite workers to fulfil that demand. So that's why the government is investing heavily in fee-free TAFE places in the construction industry. But we know that they take a fair bit of time to come on with people to do that training. So you need to balance.
Matt, I'd just like to get a quick response from Holly, if I could. We've got about 15 seconds.
Look, the plan under Mr Dutton announced last week was targeted immigration. We know that Australians want to see a reduction. We've got a government here with a housing crisis on their hands, but yet we've still got Blackout Bowen putting half our construction workers on building solar farms and wind farms. So perhaps if this government had its priorities right, we would have enough construction workers to get around, and with targeted migration could bring those in, rather than them keeping these immigration numbers high just to avoid the real recession we're in and keep us. We're in a per capita recession, but they're just trying to keep the numbers inflated through migration to avoid being in an actual recession.
Thank you both very much, Matt Thistlethwaite and Holly Hughes. We'll chat to you again later.